Hey you guys, welcome back. So last week I posted a video, a low buy check-in on how I felt I did through the month of April, and I did confess that I shopped and I bought a bunch of things. And I was just going through kind of thinking back and reflecting as to why I did that. I kind of came to the conclusion that I really feel like I've lost my way, like I've lost my direction and I'm not really sure. And I feel like I'm getting really confused about what it is I want, what my message is, and where I want to go within my low buy and within this channel. And I talk a lot about guilt and how to deal with that, because I feel like guilt and low buy for me personally, and shopping and buying and doing all the impulsive spending, that coupled with guilt just really goes hand in hand. And guilt is like my default response to when I buy anything. What I'm kind of coming across a lot lately is I feel this intense feeling of guilt despite having thought about the rules. And then when I don't think about the rules and act on these impulses, then that guilt can be projected like tenfold. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and I don't know if I would be feeling this intensely about any of these actions if I wasn't sharing my story with you guys, and my progression and my journey in this low buy and my debt repayment. I don't know if this is like a journey of finding self-contentment and self-compassion all together within this scope of what I talk about on my channel. I think it is, because I think a lot of the motivations of me buying clothes in the past was because I at a deep level didn't feel good enough. And I always thought that I would be able to level up myself and feel good enough if I had certain things. Like if I had a Insta-worthy apartment, if I had that perfect wardrobe, if I had that perfect body, perfect hair. And like and we all know this, is like life is not perfect. We know, we get it. And I think part of this is not of any fault of our own. We're constantly bombarded with these beautiful images on Instagram, selfies, now TikTok. Even TikTok, I feel like in some areas is becoming this like aspirational place where people are doing all these happy, amazing things and telling their stories that way. I even feel the pressure on these new platforms to achieve some kind of perfection and still level up to this certain place in life that I don't even know exists. And for a really long time, my low buy was a lot about me just getting out of debt. I still have a whole bunch of debt to go. I'm a lot better at attacking it. I have this I've talked about it before on my channel, how I have this very polarizing way to rationalize anything I do. It either has to be black or it has to be white. So when it comes to paying off debt, it's like, well, there's really very few things that are absolute needs. So anything that is outside of that bubble is wrong and is bad. When really what I'm trying to learn is that it's not all bad, and like where is this middle ground, and where is this sense of balance within that mindset. I understand that the debt will be there and I'm attacking it, and it's a lot better than it was before. I'm not ignoring it. I'm learning to be responsible with my finances, but I almost have taken the joy out of anything else that comes in life away. And the things that I really enjoy are things like clothes and coffee and having a dinner once in a while. Things that life is full of. But I was in this mindset of that live like no one else now so you can live like no one else later, sort of Dave Ramsey mindset. And I still very much believe in that, but as I'm also kind of going through this journey of like self-compassion and trying to find contentment in myself, doing that coupled with the Dave Ramsey plan has been exceedingly difficult, because his approach is very like, he'll straight up say like, you're stupid if you've done X, Y, and Z. And I really hold on to that like stupid part of any action, because that rationale is very intense, that gazelle intensity that he talks about, and that's what I really wanted to do for a really long time. It's really what I wanted to be. I was really good at that for actually many months. Like, that's why I did my no buy. And when I talked about doing the no buy challenge for a little while, it was because I was so focused on being gazelle intense to get rid of that loan. And then what I started to realize is that intensity is so difficult to maintain, and that's fine. A lot of me would say, oh, then that's a sign of weakness. Like you couldn't handle it, so boo-hoo on you. Like that's where my mind would go. And then as I talked about it with friends and with you guys in the community, I'm hearing a lot of, you are way too hard on yourself. And where is that self-compassion? And where is that self-love? Like, it's really absent from a lot of my motivations within the low buy, within my debt repayment, things like that. So that's kind of what I'm starting to realize, and it's really making me confused as to what my goals are. My main goal for the next year or 18 months is to become free of my student loan. I have no other debt, and I want to be free of that student loan. I'm struggling with that. I feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and if I just hunker down and get intense, then I can get there. But then there's this other part of me that, like, I can't sustain this feeling of guilt about every single purchase that I make and then like spiral back into this feeling of failure every time I buy something or every time I decide to indulge in takeout or buy an extra special coffee or do anything like that, because that guilt and that you're failing is always there now that I have this gazelle intense mindset in the back of my mind that I don't know if I want to go back to, and I just don't know. So I'm getting really confused. So I kind of want to share where I'm coming from, because I get a lot of comments about how either I'm too hard on myself or I justify what I buy a lot of the time, and I just wanted to share where that was coming from, because I really had to think about it. It's coming from this intensity and this goal that I want so bad, but every time I slip up, and even if it's not really a slip up, if you think about it reasonably, some of them are, but some of them are not, I still put myself through this feeling of failure and shame and guilt, and I'm not doing it, and I'm failing myself, and I'm failing you guys, because I feel like a lot of people come to this channel to talk about this low buy stuff, to talk about shopping addiction and impulse spending and things like that, and I don't want to label myself as anything, but now I feel like I have this obligation to be exemplary in this lifestyle, when I don't even know if that's really what my channel is about. Really, I'm just taking you along with the journey and the thoughts and the thought processes and the motivations that are behind everything I do. I think I'm also starting to realize that, like, I'm not sharing what a perfect minimalist looks like. I'm not sharing what a financial guru is. I'm no authority on anything. I'm just sharing what my journey is. And that is something that I know that I can remind myself of when I'm feeling hard on myself, because I almost feel like when you put yourself out on the internet, you kind of have to accept that in some ways you're throwing yourself to the wolves. To be honest, I haven't had anything but positivity and support on my channel, so I don't know why I'm afraid of haters or being called out. I've had a little bit. A lot of people like to talk about my teeth. We can do a whole video on my teeth if you want. In general, and the majority of the time, it's been nothing but support and positivity, and that should really speak volumes to me about what the community that we have all cultivated together is. And it's a place to be vulnerable and to share and to be met with good advice and positivity and warmth. So I don't know why I put that pressure on myself, but I think I really just am gonna let go of that. So I think for a really long time, I would put myself through this guilt and share the justifications of why I bought X, Y, and Z with you in a lot of my videos. One, to be 100% completely transparent about it, but I think I started to create this guilt feeling as part of my process to justify to myself why I spent money and why I bought, and also to justify it to you guys, because I think I was quite afraid of being called out as like a hypocrite or as disingenuous and things like that, when I really have never been. But it's just like the fear that I feel, because I felt for a long time that because I shared how doing a low buy has changed my life, because I shared all these positive aspects that I've experienced in the low buy, I felt like I had to stick to that persona and that set of ground rules that I created for myself and that a lot of you guys are using as tools in your own journeys. But I felt because of that, I had to always be at 100% of the time this exemplary figure of what being a smart shopper was, or how to shop wisely, or how to be a minimalist, even though I'm far from that. So I always felt like I needed to justify whatever I spent money on that was outside of the debt. I think as part of a way to talk myself out of that feeling of failure that I felt myself, and as a way to protect myself from the wrath of the internet, which I've never really experienced before. I've never had it. So it's like this irrational fear that I created. But now it's like this, it's almost a part of the dialogue that I go through whenever I spend money on anything. I don't want this channel to be about that. It's really not about guilt. It's not about trying to fit this mold of perfection, because I think within the shopping and buying things and acquiring things, I was still trying to fit this mold, and now I'm trying to fit a different mold by trying not to shop and not to acquire things. And really, I don't know what mold I want to fit. I think really I just I want to enjoy my stuff and feel okay with what I have, and I want to be able to love myself and feel happy and content and confident and grateful for what I have in my life as it is right now. That's not to say that I don't ever want to bring anything else into it, but I think I have a major problem with that feeling of enough. I've talked about it, with that feeling of contentment, and I was finding that contentment in stuff, and I still am, even if it's coming in less frequently and less intensely than it was before and less impulsively. It's still coming in, and there's still that baseline contentment that I'm trying to find within myself. And so I really started to think about how, when do I feel most content when it comes to being surrounded by my stuff. I feel really content when I'm creating for you guys, when I am using what I have to come up with an outfit. It really is, honestly, it really is a lot of fun. And when you're in that moment and you're impressing yourself and realizing how much you already have and how much you can do with what you have, the greatest tool you have is the one that you master, not the one that you think will help you achieve whatever you're trying to do, whether it be create a video or to create a beautiful outfit. Using what you've got and the constraints of using what you have is sometimes really challenging and amazing. You can really impress yourself to see what you can do with what you've got. And I think I really lost sight of that because I was still really searching for that happiness in stuff. So I think my new direction is really going to be less about what I bought and what I didn't buy, and how much I've paid off in my loan, and successes and failures. I'm still always going to talk about that, but I think it's really going to be more about just finding contentment in myself and what I've got. And I can't do that unless I take action and physically start doing that. So I think you're gonna see a lot more of that on my channel. And I hope that you take that and see how you can incorporate it in your own low buy, because even on the group, for example, low buy beauties, I still see that vein of guilt, or that I failed my low buy here, or I'm really sucking in this, or I slipped up and did that. And I think it's because we're still trying to live up to this exemplary idea of whatever that is for us, of what we are supposed to be doing and what things should be like. And it can be devastating when you feel like you failed that within yourself. And that honestly, there is no mold that we need to fit in this. Everyone's goals are different, everyone's rules are different, and the way we reach a goal and create a new habit is different for everybody. And this is not to say that it's not good to have goals. It's definitely good to do that, and there's sacrifices that need to be made in order to reach those goals. But what happens when you get there? Sure, I can stop shopping and buying anything outside of actual necessities like rent, food, transportation for the next 2 years and completely pay off my loan. But what happens when that is done? Does that mean that I now all of a sudden have free reign to spend and buy anything I want and do anything I want? In a sense, kind of, because I will be debt-free and my money for the first time ever will be my own. But that's not the end once I reach that goal. And then maybe a new problem will come up. So I think really what this is all about is just learning how to be okay with ourselves and with the stuff that we've already got. And it's really much easier said than done, but I've been really doing a lot. I've noticed lately I've been doing a lot of the saying and a lot less of the doing. So I think I'm going to really start to push myself and see if I can challenge myself to do more of the doing, more of playing with my clothes, more of creating new looks that I can share with you guys, and teaching myself, and then by default sharing with you guys what I'm learning in that. So I think that's kind of the direction that I want to go in my channel. I think it's going to be a lot less black and white, in the sense of if my low buy is going bad or if my low buy is going well, because that's not what this is really about for me anymore. I think it's really about finding that self-love and contentment within the stuff that I've got. And if I do bring in something new, it's really finding that middle ground where I'm okay with it and I feel like I don't need to feel this overwhelming sense of guilt every time I buy something. I think it's going to be a lot of listening to my gut. It's going to be a lot of taking physical action and getting up and looking at what I've got, or stepping back and breathing and calming down and removing myself from the situation, looking around and seeing what I have. I've got my health, I've got shelter, I've got my family, I've got everything I need. It's reminding myself of that, and then also taking it inward and really starting to love myself, because sometimes that's the hardest person to love. Yeah, I just think that this is what my channel is going to be about, because I think by accident within the low buy, I feel like I've cultivated a lot of feelings of guilt and feelings of what this is supposed to be within myself, and I really hope not within you guys, but I still see that vein of guilt, and I don't want that. That's not helpful for any of us. It's really easy to default to and feel that way, but it's energy that we could be putting into ourselves for good and for self-compassion, instead of into something to tear ourselves down with. I just wanted to sit down and kind of let you kind of talk through where I'm at, where I want my channel to go, and how I'm just trying to find new clarity in this journey that I'm on. I don't know if low buy is what I want to call it anymore. Yeah, I just think it's more, and I don't know if it's becoming minimalist. I think it's just becoming content with myself and with what I've got. So that's where we're going to be going in the channel. I hope that's cool with you guys. I'm really looking forward to creating things even more within that vein for you guys, because it brings me a lot of joy, it brings me a lot of purpose, and it also just keeps me on track with the goals that I have. And now the new goal for me is to love myself and to love what I have and love where I'm at and just be content with that, because that can sometimes be the most difficult. That, I think, for me has been the most difficult part of everything that I've done to get me even to this point. So that's a huge thing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where it's gonna go. So I think that's all I've got for you today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your support and love as always. I see you guys out there. I see every comment and I appreciate it so much. And it's really nice to know that I'm not alone and we're not alone in each other. You guys are probably the most supportive and amazing group I've ever experienced or seen on social media. You guys rock. So like this video if you want to see more. Please hit subscribe if you want to join the family, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.